ओके, सो प्रीवियस क्लास में हमने यहाँ तक देखा था कि कैसे आप ग्रैब करते हो, और प्रॉब्लम भी हमने देखी थी। तो लेट अस सी द प्रॉब्लम अगेन, फिर से एक बार ट्राई करते हैं। और वी हैव क्रिएटेड एलिमेंट, क्रिएट ऐसे प्रोग्रामेटिकली यू कैन क्रिएट एलिमेंट, जिसको हमने h1 वेरिएबल में रख लिया। h1 के अंदर इनर टेक्स्ट मैंने ऐड किया, और इधर मैं ऐड करने का ट्राई कर रहा हूँ अगेन h1 को। ठीक है, तो h1 इज करेंटली अ नोड। ठीक है, अभी इसको इधर करोगे तो ये वर्क करेगा, क्योंकि रेफरेंस का केस होता है। अभी उसको भी बता देता हूँ, क्योंकि ऑब्जेक्ट और मैंने अरेज में प्रिमिटिव और रेफरेंस डेटा टाइप में आपको डिफरेंस नहीं बताया, दैट्स व्हाई देयर इज कंफ्यूजन। बट एनीवेज, सेव करते हैं और इधर आओगे तो यू कैन सी कि स्टिल इट इज एचटीएमएल। ऐसा नहीं है कि एचटीएमएल नहीं है, ठीक है, बट ऑब्जेक्ट के फॉर्म में है। ओके, अब इसको बस कन्वर्ट करके एक टेक्स्ट के फॉर्म में इसको देना होगा। ठीक है, अदरवाइज इट इज स्टिल एचटीएमएल, सब कुछ वैलिड है। यू कैन सी ये लॉक कर रहे हो तो आपको पूरा एचटीएमएल ही तो मिल रहा है ना। ठीक है, पूरा का पूरा आपको एलिमेंट मिल रहा है, यू आर गेटिंग होल एलिमेंट। इधर एलिमेंट में आओगे और बॉडी में आके चेक करोगे तो यू कैन सी कि ये एक बिल्कुल जैसे एलिमेंट प्लेस होता है कुछ वैसे ही प्लेस हो रहा है। ठीक है, तो स्टिल इट इज एलिमेंट बट इन ऑब्जेक्टिफाइड फॉर्म, ऑब्जेक्ट की तरह, क्योंकि नोड हम डायरेक्टली असाइन कर रहे हैं। आपने क्या किया था कि इसे इसी एनएरएचटीएमएल को इधर लगा दिया था। ठीक है, तो उस केस में क्या हो रहा है कि डेफिनेटली आप डॉट कर सकते हो, क्योंकि इट विल रिटर्न एलिमेंट, और एलिमेंट के आगे आप डॉट लगा के यू कैन ऐड सम प्रॉपर्टी। ठीक है, तो आप डायरेक्टली इनर एचटीएमएल उसमें असाइन कर रहे हो। ठीक है, होता क्या है वो मैंने नहीं बताया प्रिमिटिव और रेफरेंस में कि कैसे वर्क होता है। जैसे h1 डॉट इनर टेक्स्ट आप कर रहे हो ना, तो इट इज मॉडिफाइंग इन ईच एंड एवरी इंस्टेंस। ठीक है, चेंजेस कुछ ऐसे होते हैं, वी विल सी। Okay, which language is good, because switching back and forth is kind of little bit challenging. So challenging in the sense that some student understood English, some Hindi. Uh, so is it good? English is good for everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
so let us go English only. Okay, so in that scenario, we are creating the h1 node, okay, programmatically, and trying to add that particular node in the dormitory. Okay, and we are then referencing h1 and accessing its property in a HTML. That is, for now it is a blank, it is undefined, because there is nothing, there is going to be null thing. If you see h1 on line number 23, you will get nothing in it. Okay, so let us do that, how the things are working. I'm just going to log it, console.log the h1 thing. Okay, and let us open it, and you can see you are getting 2 times the same thing. Still, pay attention, you have logged that element earlier than that line. Okay, but still line number 25, whatever we are logging, we are getting the same thing without even adding the things. Okay, so that means at any stage. Okay, so this is the property of, I told you, we will discuss it separately, but in that scenario it is causing some serious problems. See, okay, so we need to figure it out why this is happening. Okay, so you know, in the reference data type, there are 2 sets of type data, the primitive as well as reference. In the reference data type, if you update the information anywhere in the program, it will update it everywhere. Okay, in the whole segment, kahin pe bhi hoga, it will be updated everywhere. But it don't happen with the primitive data types. With reference data type, you can see this h1 is exactly same like this h1, but we are expecting at this line we will not get like a full element. Okay, so when you are adding dot here, okay, so you are expressively assigning or creating a full node, not the element again. So h1 is initially, it is a blank, it is no blank at the runtime. When whole code executes, okay, at the runtime this binding happens. Okay, so when you are assigning h1 directly here, it is assigning a blank object for now. Okay, blank object. But when you are doing dot here, you are updating the existing element and you are creating node, something like that. Okay, so that's why it is not working. Initially, what is happening? This h1 is blank. Okay, when you are adding inner text, this will get added in this particular element definitely. But when at the runtime, when the program will execute, then this entry will update it. इधर अभी आपको you are getting whole information totally fine with, क्योंकि program execute हो चुका है. Okay, so initially it is a node and it is blank for now, suppose, because we didn't have any inner text property. Okay, अभी उधर blank होगा. ठीक है, जब आपने create किया, क्योंकि it's a node, you can add it inner text and you can create something like that. Okay, but when it happened at the time of running the program, तभी क्या होगा कि when you run this line ना, okay, so first step, what happens, how the JavaScript program first browser scan whole code. Okay, and it brings all the functions on top, what we call the hoisting. Okay, so it happens. So at that phase, during the scanning, during the hoisting phase, interview mein they will ask you what is hoisting. We will discuss it separately in great detail, but first hoisting happens. Okay, then after code ran. Okay, there are two steps involved in any JavaScript program. When browser run a JavaScript, first you scan the whole code. So at the time of scanning, this whole thing is still blank. Okay, there is nothing in this binding didn't happen. Okay, we didn't put any value in that segment. Okay, so that thing is still blank. Okay, but when the code execute, at that time the binding is happening. So we are getting full-fledged element, but when we are assigning it, we are just keeping the blank object. That's why it is saying ki, it is a blank kind of things. Okay, so a little bit it's a problem of kind of how the JavaScript run behind the scenes. But when you do dot here, okay, so you are expressively saying ki, no, create the element and at the same time just assign the value in the element. In that case it will work. You can dot that to here. So let us go and you can add the property type, because you know, okay, it will return the things. And then if you run this code this time, see, it is working. Why it is working? Because we are expressively saying we create the element and just creating it instantly, just at that particular instant, just add the text in the element. So in that case, we are creating a fully fledged stringified version of the HTML, and now it is working. But when you do something like that, h1 dot, okay, so this binding happen at the runtime. Okay, and that's why this will say, you know, no, you are trying to put object, this binding is not happening. So if I save it, you can see we are still getting the object. So because we are assigning the blank kind of node here, not this binded version. So this is the problem hoisting. We will discuss it in great detail, but for now, mm, just keep in mind ki, two ways of running the JavaScript code. Browser first scan the whole code, then after it execute the whole code. Okay, and the scan, in the scanning phase, what it do, it do the hosting thing. It arrange the object, it arrange the function, it arrange several things. Okay, and in the running phase, it ran whole code after the arrangement. Okay, so this is a problem of hosting, that's why it is happening. But anyways, we will discuss it in great detail. Okay, but for now, let us try to figure out the solution for this particular problem. We are assigning an object in here. Okay, so uh, and also JavaScript, what the JavaScript do? JavaScript usually do the dynamic typecasting. For example, when you are doing something like that, for example, you are creating a variable like a and assigning a string in it, you can do that. Okay, but in the same variable, After some time you can assign the number to. So what JavaScript is doing, we first making this variable string compatible. After and when the line number 20 will execute, the Java itself is making this same variable number compatible. Okay, so this is what we call the dynamic type casting. So when you are doing a dot here, okay, when you are doing dot inner text, this whole thing is getting converted in a string due to dynamic casting, and then after it is getting assigned in the inner HTML. So in that way definitely it is going to work. But when we are doing this will happen at the time of running the code. Okay, so that's why it is still in the like hoisting phase. So we will not get the whole element. Okay, so this is what happened under the knee. Okay, so when you do dot this thing there in the same variable, okay, it is a node. Currently it is a node because it is storing a node. H1 node created H1 node and stored in the H1. But this same variable can store other types exactly like that. In one case it is storing like a string, and after some time it is storing number. So when you do the dot, okay, when you do the dot, this thing, the whole thing is converted in the string, and dynamic type casting will happen there too. Okay, उधर dynamic type casting होगा. So dynamic type casting होगा, that means it will create a whole node with text, because there is going to be a text and the whole thing will be available right away. And then after if you assign, it will work. Okay, but when you are doing the other way, this thing, there is no dynamic type casting. This code will combine at the runtime. Okay, after the scanning phase, the execution phase, this will combine, and that's why we are getting, because this is the node, no? Still node. Okay, we haven't added anything, because this addition will happen at the time of code execution, not at the time of scanning के time पे कुछ नहीं होने वाला. So there are two stages, or this is due to hoisting. Okay, and this problem is due to hoisting. We will discuss it hoisting in great detail. So interview especially, interview preparation के लिए especially we will do. Okay, okay, so now it's time for the solution कि solve कैसे करें. ठीक है, तो हम इसको specify कर सकते हैं with the help of some other method, and उसके लिए we definitely have different, there are several methods available. Okay, but the most famous one is that is what we call append child. Okay, so we will not use inner HTML. Okay, what we are trying to do, how do the append child work? Simply, when your family member adopt a child, how that particular, the adopted child, how that particular element or that particular child is uh, or will assigned to your family. Is it as your brother, or is it as your child of your parents? Okay, so you can see when you adopt a baby, it was always assigned as a child of your parent. Okay, so this is the same phenomena here we also use. We first grab the parent. Okay, we first grab the like parent, in our case this div, and this thing is a child. Okay, I want to place that particular element, this node, as a child. Okay, so what we do, we will grab the div and append a child in it. Okay, and there is a method, append child method is available. Okay, so we have div, and now it's time to not use the inner HTML. It is not going to work. It will give you the object because the binding will happen at runtime or the execution time. Okay, but yes, if you change, it will work. Okay, because the whole thing will converted, the dynamic conversion is there. Okay, so let us append the child. Okay, this way is not working. Line number 27 is not working, but we need the answer, we need the solution. So I'm just going to do div dot append child. You can see there are several things, but I'm very much interested in append child because this is a very famous one, and you will use it very frequently. So I'm just trying to append a child, and when you are trying to append a child, always provide it a node and other thing will also work. A string will also work in that scenario. Okay, but more specifically, when you create a dynamic element, you can provide the whole node in it. So I'm just going to call append child method and supply the h1 now. Okay, now it will do the dynamic conversion behind the scenes. That's why append child is that is how append child works. Okay, so we are doing the same, but we are adding, instead of adding the inner HTML also produces the child. Okay, but again, it's not a proper way, and there is kind of a problem. Okay, we are getting object type of HTML node or something, HTML element, HTML head element. We are getting something like that. Okay, so it is good. Okay, it is providing information, but it is saying we just use append child instead of inner HTML. If you face some kind of similar problem in future, always use append child instead of inner HTML. Okay, so let us save it, and hopefully problem is resolved. Okay, so this information is getting added. Okay, and most importantly, you can see advantage of append child. When you are using inner HTML, it is replacing all the inner HTML. But when you use append child, it will keep the previous elements, as well as it just add a new element in the sequence. Okay, as a child, if you open it, you can see there is h1, there is p, and this is that the element that we have added dynamically. Okay, now it is not giving like object or something like that. Okay, that is also correct, but that is not readable. Okay, so we need to use append child for that. So the cycle is simple. Just to create nodes with the help of create element. Then you can append. This is also not a good way. Adding inner HTML, you can create a text node too. So let us do that too. So this is not a good way. I don't like that way. So you can use for some small use cases, but mostly you will do. You will also create a text node. You can create element node by create element. You can also create a text node by create text node. So let us create text. So I'm just going to create a variable var h1 text equals, okay, and the document, again ready-made things are there again, create text node. Okay, so there is a method, the ready-made method, and it will create the text node. This will create the element node, this will create the text node. Now I'm going to supply this whole text in it, because it will create the text node. Okay, so now it is not a string. Okay, so I'm just going to remove that line for now, and it will do the same. Okay, in much great detail. So what I have done, I have created an element node h1, and separately I have created a text node h1 text. Okay, so now it's time to combine these two things, because I want to put this text inside the h1 element. So how will you do? Adding it as a child, because text is going to be child of h1, right? Text is going to be child of h1. H1 refs the text, correct? Okay, so we have two nodes, h1, the element node, and the h1 text node. Now it's time to create a full element using these two nodes. So let us do h1 dot inner HTML will not work. Again, pay attention. Inner text or inner HTML is not going to work, because this time this is not a text or a string. This time it is a node again. Okay, this is a node. Okay, so this will not work again, because this is the node, the text node. It is not a string, so you cannot use inner text property, and you cannot assign a node to it. So this will not work. What you have to do, again append child approach. So I want to append this text node as a child of h1 element. So again, I will go the same logic. So I'm just going to h1 dot append child, and let us apply the h1 text. Okay, so h1 text. Okay, so it will create a whole element. Abhi kya hoga ki you will get the whole element h1 with this text node. Okay, but it is still not added in the dormitory. It is right here in the JavaScript file, not in the dormitory. So to do so, you need to append child h1. Okay, so this whole h1 is constructed now. If you log h1, you will get the whole h1 element. Okay, so console.log, if you log h1, now you will get a whole h1 with the text and all the things. Let us open that, and yes, you can see you are still getting the same detailed one, because h1 is fully constructed. This h1 blank element, then this h1 text node. So these two different nodes we have created. One is text, one is element node. Now it's time to connect these two elements. So I have used again append child. So h1 dot append child meant add this h1 text as a child of this h1. Okay, so I'm adding this thing inside the h1. So this is done. So after doing this, we are logging it, and we are getting a whole thing. As I told you, you will confuse this is h1 is only this h1, so why we are getting all the data in it. Again, as I told you, in reference type, whether it is array or object, when you update a entry at any place in the program, that particular updated entry will reflect everywhere. Okay, so on line number 27, we are adding a text node in the element node. So now h1's current state is this one, because it will reflect everywhere. Okay, and we are logging it then. That's why we are getting the complete h1, and that is also getting injected in the dormitory too. Okay, because we are using again append child again. Okay, so this is the programmatic way. And then after, we are grabbing the element from DOM and appending it in the dormitory. So now it will available in the browser too, the dormitory too. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us move forward. So this is a good way. Okay, we will do this kind of things on daily basis. So append child is very famous one. You can also append as a sibling. You can also append as other ways. But we will discuss those depending on the need. But you know, there is a way. You have to you just keep in mind that there is a way and several ways. Okay, so there are ways. By using those ways, you can add an element inside another element as a child, as a sibling, as a parent. Okay, you can do several things. Okay, so this is a simple thing. Okay, so we are kind of creating things now. We are grabbing the element, we are creating text node programmatically. Now it's time to create a paragraph. Okay, now let us create and inject a whole this kind of segment programmatically. Okay, so I'm just going to create it from the very beginning. Okay, अभी सारा कुछ remove करते हैं. Let us start from scratch so that you can get the idea कि how the program flows. Okay, so I'm just going to create a h1. Again, variable name could be anything. I'm just using h for heading, and again document dot create element. I'm just going to create a element I'm just going to use h2 for now. So quotation has to be there. Okay, so I have created h2. Okay, so to put some data in it, some text in it, I'm just going to use a node create text node way. Otherwise, you can also create some kind of variable with the string data, and you can assign it as an inner HTML. Okay, it will work both, but node way is good way. Okay, so var h text, again document dot create text node, and I'm just going to supply some text in it. This is coded heading. Perfect. So we have created two separate entities. अभी उनका कोई connection नहीं है, but we can append it as a child. ठीक है, programmatically we can do. So let us create the h1. So h dot append child, not append. Otherwise, you will append as a sibling. I'm just going to edit it as a child. So I want the inner. I want to place h text inside the h. So h text. Perfect. So we have created complete h2 with this is coded heading as a data. Okay, you can log in, check it too. Now it's time to create some paragraph too. So let us do that. So var p for paragraph, whatever name you want to provide. So document dot create element, and I'm just going to use p for now, paragraph. So this is the element node. Now it's time to create like a text node. So p text, I'm naming it document dot create again text node, because there is going to be we will add some kind of text in it. Okay, so this is my graph. Okay, coded version, not the HTML version, JavaScript version. So whatever you want to put. So we have created two separate, one element node and one text node. Now it's time to add them to create a full paragraph. So p dot append child, I want to add it as a child, not the append. Otherwise, it is going to be sibling. I want it as a child. So I will provide like a p text here. Now we have created two elements. The full p element, पूरा paragraph हमने create कर लिया, और एक पूरा heading हमने create कर लिया. Now it's time to add these two elements in the dormitory. ठीक है, अभी ये programmatically available. If you save, आपको इधर ये नहीं दिखेगा. ठीक है, this is the old HTML. This thing is reflecting there. Okay, this only thing is reflecting there. Okay, but we need to add that. So if you want to check, definitely you can check. So let us log both, log it simply, and p comma h. You will get two elements. If I log, you can see you are getting the paragraph element, this one, or you can check some data in it. Yes, this is my data. And you can see append child, it's similar to like inner HTML kind of thing, but in much more controlled way. And if you want to check the h2, definitely you will get a whole h2 with some data. So we are creating the whole element programmatically. Now it's time to add it in the dormitory. So now let us grab the div, उसी के अंदर हमें इसको inject करना है. Again, so I'm just going to grab a div equals document. Now it's time to grab from the dormitory. Okay, so we have created elements. Now it's time to add to the dormitory. So document dot get element by id, or let us do the query selector, and इसमें हम लोग pass कर देते हैं dot div. I think that is the ID, if I remember. So we get the element from the DOM, and now it's time to add P as well as H as a child of div. Okay, so we will do div dot append child, and let us pass H, and then after div dot append child, and simply pass the paragraph. Okay, so it will do the task. This 3 line will inject whole created content in the dormitory. as a child of this div. Okay, if I save it, okay, and just cannot read property null of reading property append a child. Why? Where I line number 34 append child h cannot read property of null reading append child. Did I make any mistake? Is there any okay, so we are not grabbing the right div. That's why it is saying ki this is the blank. We are trying to access the, so id is div. So I need to pass here what? Hashtag, no?
Yes, sir.
That is mistake. Now it will work. Okay, you can see programmatically we are successfully injecting the heading as well as the paragraph in the dormitory. If I open div, you can see this is the h2 and this is the paragraph, and this whole thing is created dynamically. Okay, no HTML way, just JavaScript way, and this is also we are manipulating the DOM. So this is the thing you will do with the DOM manipulation. You will do these kind of things on daily basis. Okay, so okay, so we will do it. Just keep in mind that there are some ways in which we can add element in the existing dormitory as a child, as a sibling, as other ways. Okay, so append child is most famous one, and you will do it on a daily basis. But other than that, you must know how to create some element, how to add those, and how to inject in properly in the dormitory. When inner HTML or inner text property will not work, that is due to hosting, but again there is dynamic typing, so you can dot it. अगर आपको ऐसे करना है तो you can just do the dot here. Okay, and you can add it as a text. It will work in a HTML or whatever, then it will be converted in the text, and it will then work without any issue. Okay, but if you assign node directly to the element, it may cause some problem, like object type of thing. Okay, any doubt? Okay, so let us move, and we have kind of done DOM manipulation. So dormitory से भी आपको CRUD create read update delete operation perform करने आना चाहिए. अगर आपको DOM से get करना है तो you are doing the select. Okay, so you will select the element. Means you are reading entries from the DOM. If you are injecting something, you are creating something in the DOM. Okay, and you can also update if you want to grab and update. So definitely you can use inner HTML, all the things. You can also use append a child, all the things to update the DOM. Okay, so you are updating, and you can also call remove to delete element from the DOM. For example, if you want to delete something, just grab it and call the dot remove. It will get removed directly. Okay, so let us try to remove something. Let us try to remove this div. Okay, so I'm not going to add these things. I'm just interested in div dot remove. Okay, so this is the remove method. You can call on any element and it will remove it from the dormitory. अभी सेव करेंगे तो देखना उधर DOM, क्योंकि it is getting removed ना directly without any control. But you can create a function, you can bind some event, and you can do in several other ways. Set attribute, get attribute, we have done now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so and manual way में if I say कि change the color of this h1, let me keep that div. Let us grab that div. And I'm just going to try change the color, so you can do that now. Div dot style dot by color. Okay, so you must know those. But one more important thing, while you are writing CSS using JavaScript, there is some hyphenated property like background color, right? Background hyphen. So this is not allowed because why? Because the negative sign represent subtraction, right? In JavaScript, correct? So this will not work. So whenever you are using this way of manipulating CSS, always keep in mind key hyphenated version will not work. The single word version will work. Any CSS property you can manipulate single word version. For the hyphenated one, the simple rule is that you remove the hyphen sign because it will indicate subtraction, and just uppercase the first character. Now it will work. Okay, so this is the common rule you have to just keep in mind. Okay, so for hyphenated property, just remove the hyphen and uppercase the upcoming character. That's it. Okay, and now it will work. You can apply the background color, whatever color you want to do. Okay, so this is the important thing to keep in mind. The negative, the hyphenated version will not work in the JavaScript way, but in the CSS way, definitely it is going to work. So that this segment I missed. So just keep in mind. Okay, so you can do other things too. For example, if you want to get all the list of classes that a particular element have, you can demand it with the help of class list property. Okay, so to do you are just going to call a property what we call the class list property, and it will give you all the classes that are associated with this particular div. So I have created this div, and I have just title here. Let us give me like class testing 1 5. Okay, so I'm giving like 3 classes. Okay, let us save it. Now let us come here, and if you want to get all the classes that this particular div have or any element have, you can just demand it by saying I need a class list. Okay, so let us try to get some get the class list. So div dot class list, and definitely you can log it to get all the class list. But definitely you can programmatically add it too. Then you will argue ki why not to set element or something like that. So we will clarify that too. What are the differences between set attribute and get attribute? Because classes are also attributes. Okay. So if I save and if I go to console, you can see you are getting a DOM token kind of thing, but especially pay attention. You are getting all the classes testing 1 5 and all the classes you are getting, not other attribute, only the classes we are getting. So this class list property give you all the classes associated with that particular element. Okay, you can programmatically add classes too, but you can also do the set attribute class, and you can provide some class values in it, but that thing is not a proper way because that will remove the things. Let me demonstrate the differences. Okay, so you are getting the class list, and if you want to add some classes, you have one more way, the set attribute way. So div dot set attribute, and I can set the class attribute easily using this method, but pay attention to the differences, that is important. And I'm just going to provide one more class here, like ABC. whatever class name I want to provide. Pay attention here. I'm just going to save it, but just let me show you once more. The class, and there is 3 classes associated, are assigned in this particular class attribute. Let us save it. With the help of set attribute, let us see what are the changes. I'm just going to comment it and let us save it. I'm just going to save it. Very, very important thing. Pay attention to it. It removes the previous classes. It removes the previous classes, that is testing 1 and 5 are getting removed, right? So you can see the problem with the set attribute. It inject new thing. Okay, so it is doing sometimes you need set attribute to completely replace the class or any attribute, but sometimes when you don't need, in that case you have to use class list property. Okay, so by using class list you can also add classes. Okay, so this is much more flexible way. So I want to keep the previous classes too, and as well as I want to add new classes in the existing class list. Okay, so definitely you can do. So this way will work if you want to replace all things and want to add one and only one attribute or whatever. Okay, so you can use this one as well as you can use this one too, the class list way. So I'm just going to add a class list in the class list way. So div dot set attribute, no, the class list, and it also have a method like add. You can see there are lots of methods to deal with the classes. Add contains will check key whether a particular class exists on that particular element or not. It will return true or false key. If there is a class like I'm testing key contains 1, so it will return true because there is one class I have, or 5, it will return. But if I test like MNO, it will return false because there is nothing, no class named MNO assigned to that particular div element. Okay, so contains, and there are several. You can for each too, because class lists are like array kind of thing. So you can for each over it. We will talk about this for each in upcoming classes. This is very important things. But if you want to add get only keys, then you can get the keys. You can also do several things, but I'm interested in especially the add, remove. uh, two are most important ones. So I'm just going to use add method and going to supply just a class. So I'm just interested in supplying like ABC2. Okay, again ABC. When I add classes in that way, the existing classes will available, as well as this class will added in the list. Okay, so if I save, and you can see testing 1, 5, and now ABC is there. Okay, and in that way everything will replaced, only one entry, the ABC is going to be available. Okay, so it depends it depend on the situation, what is the requirement of the current situation. Okay, so good. So you can deal with the classes with the help of div dot class list, add whatever class you want to add. If you want to remove, definitely you can do that too. For example, div dot class list dot remove method, and you can specify which class you want to remove, like let us provide like 5. I need to remove the 5 class, and if I save, so ABC will get added and 5 will get removed. Save, and you can see if 5 is removed, 1 is there, testing is there, and ABC is there. So this is very handy trick. Okay, and you have to use it exactly like, okay, because I'm not creating these things. These are available in the JavaScript library, and we have to use as they are provided. So div dot class list give you the list of classes for that particular element, and you can add some classes if needed. You can remove some classes, and you can do more operation with the related to classes by performing other operations that comes up with the class list object. Okay, so good. Okay, so this is the class list property, very handy one. We will use it very frequently. Okay, so let us go through a simple use case, and let us try to do some manipulation, and let us try to add something like dynamic magical things, the small things. Okay, so I'm just going to add some HTML here, and going to, it's like simple challenges of JavaScript, nothing more than that. So I'm just going to remove it, all the thing, and I'm also going to remove all the things from here except those things. We will use those later in the course. So save, nothing is there. So let us add some HTML. So h1, and just going to do the DOM, and I'm just going to add some paragraph here. So simply paragraph, this is my para 1, and I'm just going to like that. So I'm just going to change it to 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, simple. We have 5, 6 paragraphs and one heading. Simple. So I'm just going to find it out. I just want, for example, I'm just going to inject some error word in here. Okay, some success word in here, something like that. So we will use class list property. That's why I told you. Okay, what is the? Let us check the utility key. What are the situations in which you can use those kind of things? Okay, so I'm just going to put error word here. I'm just going to put like success word here. I'm just going to put error here again. Okay, the challenge is simple one. It's a way we are going to find out the word error programmatically, and we'll mark it as a red. This paragraph will mark as a red, or you can provide a border, red border to it. Okay, and the paragraph who have success, they are going to mark, or we are going to place like a border, surround them with the green border, or whatever you, if you want to make the font color green, you can do that, whatever you want. Just I need to identify whether this particular paragraph have error or success. Okay, and for no error success paragraph, we are just going to keep them as it is. Okay, no changes in them. So this is a simple challenge, and we can do it with the help of JavaScript, and we will learn a new method to uh, okay, how to check whether a particular string have a particular word or not. Okay, so we haven't discussed the string method. Now it's time to understand one method that is very handy when you work with the string. Okay, the strings are not dumb data type. They are very smart. They have several properties and method. We are going to use one of them today. Okay, so you will learn in that way. We will use 1, 2, 3, 5 depending on the need. You will understand each and every string related method very easily. Okay, so let us come here, and now it's time to write some code. So let us first grab the piece, because we want to like mark only piece. So I'm just going to collect all the paragraph, and to do so we can use query selector all without any issue. As we know, if you specify we want to select multiple elements, you can go query selector all. So I'm just going to use var and elements equal document dot get element by query selector all. Okay, query selector all, and I'm just going to use element selector for now. Just I'm supplying p here, so you will get a node list, if you remember, right? Node list of all paragraph. Agreed or not? Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
You will get a node
Yes.
list. Good. So you are getting, we are getting like node list. Now we can for each it. If you want to loop over it, we have seen how to loop over the particular array. Okay, we have seen you can use for loop for that, and you can loop over it without any issue. Okay, so one more thing, I am just going to disclose one more array related method, because we have this node list. Okay, so we are going to learn two things today. Now it's time when what are going to be the situation when you use that particular feature of the array or that particular feature of the string data type. So arrays are also not dumb data type, they have several methods in it. Okay, so I'm just going to let you know the for each. Okay, so for looping over the array, so we are getting a node list. Okay, I want to loop over it, so you can use a usual for loop that we have used earlier, but we have much more simpler way to do so. Okay, so let us learn first for each. How does the for each works? Okay, so this is very simple. Okay, just uh, we are going away from DOM for like 5 minutes. Then after we will switch back by understanding how the for each works in the with the with the arrays especially. Okay, so let us create an array, simple array. I'm just going to create because I already have the array. I want to deal with it in much more smarter way. So we are going to figure out that smart way, nothing else. So let us understand that separately. Then we will use that in the existing problem. Okay, so we are getting kind of array kind of things. It has similar features like array, but some limited with some limitations. But it's kind of similar to arrays. Okay, for now. So let us create a simple array var like array name my array, and I'm just going to specify some value in it. 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay, perfect. And if you want to loop over it, definitely you can use usual for loop. So I'm just going to implement with the for first, and then we will use for each secondly. So I is less than my array dot length. If you remember, right? Remember
Yes, sir.
this, and I'm just going to use I plus plus for now, and we can log the whole array. So console.log, I'm just going to like use my array and square bracket I in it. Okay, so it will log each and every element individually. You can see if 4, 6, 7, 8 are coming out of this array. We can easily kind of loop over the arrays. Okay, but we have a simpler way. You don't need to create like initializer. You don't even need to check the condition. You don't need to do anything. Okay, so we kind of we have kind of very much a simpler way of looping through the arrays. We have discussed the arrow function or not yet? Have we done the arrow function?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so we also need to do, because there is going to be binding issue. But let me demonstrate a very important and important concept for the interview purposes too. Let us discuss that. Okay, so let me loop over in other way. Okay, so this is the way. Okay, you can use this way too without any issue. It will work. You can loop over it. You are getting the each and every element right here, and you can like do the dot and whatever you want. Okay, so you can use this method this way too. You can go something like uh, similar to what we have done here with that too. Okay, so okay, so let us use the for no, let me tell you the for each for now. Okay, or else let us do this for way, and then we will do it for each way, both way. So you will get both idea how to work with both looping mechanism. For each is going to be very simple. Okay, so I'm just going to switch this to only elements. Make sense, right? Will it work? Let us save it, and yes, it is working. We are getting each and every element out of the array. We are kind of processing the things, correct? So this thing is paragraph. First paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, fourth paragraph. This is the whole paragraph kind of things we are getting, right? Getting my point? Yes.
Sir. No, sir.
Okay,
No.
this is okay. So re-explain. Should I re-explain it?
Yes, sir. Explain कीजिए एक बार.
Okay, let me go again. Okay, so this is array. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of array with not all the powers, but it is array, and we can do array related thing with the node list too. Not a big deal. For now, understand node list and array list. Arrays are both same, both work in the same manner. Okay, so this is array, and we can loop over the array with the help of for or for each. We will learn it soon. So I have created for only, and I know index 0, and there is indexing system 0 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so I'm creating a loop I equal to 0. I'm providing a condition, the length of the element. So there is going to be what you will get, length elements dot length. You are going to get like 6 here, correct? Because there are 6 elements. Okay, so I is less than 6 kind of thing is here. Okay, and we are increasing it I by 1. Okay, so it will loop each and every element because I is increased by 1 1 2 3 4 something like that. Okay, so what we can do, we can use I as the index for this particular element. If you want to access element from the array, you need index for that, right? So what we can do, we can say ki array, I'm just going to provide a index to you, and that is I, right? So what you will get each and every time, this is going to be the paragraph element, na? Because this node list have these paragraphs, not 1 2 3 4. Okay, arrays can contain anything. Okay, in that case it contains the elements, the HTML elements, the paragraph element, right? So there are 6 paragraph element, and when this loop will execute, I become 0. So this will become the first paragraph. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
0 the first paragraph, then after I will become 1 the second paragraph, the third paragraph, the fourth paragraph. You can see hovering over it is indicating which paragraph we are talking about. So let us now, I'm just this is the P. I know this is the P element from the HTML, from the DOM. We can do some kind of manipulation over it. Okay, if you want, again it's a simple string kind of thing. You can do the dot string. You can also get the text content out of it. Okay, so you can get the text content. Let us get the text content. Okay, so you can get the text content, and you can log it. Instead of paragraph, you will get the text content. So console.log, and again these are the fixed things, I'm not creating it. So it's kind of p.text content, right? Okay, now this is
Yes, sir.
p.text content. So let us save it, and you can see you're getting all the text content with some error. The same thing. Okay, the same thing is right there in the programmatic way. We are looping over it, we are selecting it from the DOM, and we are kind of extracting it. But again, these are the string, right? Text content always give you a string. Okay, when you call the text content, you will get the string again. So this is now a string, and now we can use some string property on it. String are not dumb data type, they have some method in it. For example, let us discuss a string separately. So I'm just going to create a string like name name equal to Gyan, simple string. And if I want to figure out the length of the string, how many characters they have, definitely you can do a string dot length. So I'm just going to get like name dot length, not the navigator, name dot length. Okay, and it is going to give like 4 because there are 4 characters. You can see we are getting 4 4 characters. If I add something in it, it will count it and it will do the task. 31 characters, totally fine. But you can have you have several methods. You can, if you want to convert a string in an array, definitely you can do that too. Okay, so for that you have to use other methods. We will discuss all these methods slowly. Okay, एक ही बार में सारा अगर stuff करूँगा तो this is going to be challenge. You cannot do the practice. Okay, so let us discuss some other things. I just want to check whether Gyan word is available in this whole string or not. And to do so, strings have a very smart method, what we call includes, okay, with plural, okay, with extra s. Okay, so I'm just going to call includes. Okay, and we can check whether this particular string have something like any word or any thing. Okay, so we can specify, it's a method, so you need to call it and you can specify कि भाई उसमें ज्ञान है कि नहीं है, तो आप इधर ऐसे स्पेसिफाई करोगे तो ये आपको बताएगा कि उस पूरी स्ट्रिंग में ज्ञान वर्ड अवेलेबल है या नहीं है. Okay, so let us save it and you can see it is giving true. Gyan is there, right? है ना this thing?
Yes,
And
sir.
if you add one more thing here, so this thing is not available, correct? If
Yes,
I
sir.
save it, you can see you are getting a false here. So this is a very smart and handy method of a string and available. Okay, we just need to use it. So it will check if that particular word is available in particular string or not. So this is also a string, agreed? Exactly like something like that. Okay, so we can also do the includes here, agreed?
Yes, sir.
Includes, and we can check for the error. We are looking for the error, correct? So that we can figure it out ना कि कौन से पैराग्राफ में error है या नहीं है, right? We are looking for the error and success. So we are filtering out error first, then after we will figure it out whether success is in any paragraph or not. Okay, so good. So I'm just going to remove it. Perfect. So it will give you true or false depending on how many paragraph have the error word in it. Okay, so let us save it and you can see key 3 false, true, sorry, 1 true, 3 false. Matlab 3 falses are there, key 3 paragraph are not. This one have we are getting true for it, agreed, because there is error, right? So this true is for first paragraph and these 3 falses are for the upcoming 3 paragraph because there is no word error in it. Okay, and we are getting true for this one again and false for this paragraph again. Okay, so we are kind of figuring it out which string include the error word. Now we can do some conditional thing here. Okay, again you can see we have learned the conditional, but now we are going to use it. Okay, so I'm not interested in logging it because on the basis of true and false we can make some decision now. That's why we use if, else or switch, right? So based on some condition, if I want to write some code, which is the best suitable thing? What should I use? If it is kind of working with true and false, based on some true and false state, we can make some decision. For that, we have learned if, right? Conditional blocks. And good. So I know it will give you true and false, nothing more than that. If a particular string contain error, it will give you true. If don't, you will get a false. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it directly here. It's confusing, not confusing, okay? Ultimately, it is going to evaluate either true or false, right? Make sense?
Yes,
When
sir.
it turns true, this code will execute. Simple enough. If it is a false, then nothing will execute because we don't have any else block here. Okay, so I'm just going to comment here. And now we can write our logic. We can write kind of some color changing mechanism. So let us do that. So we have P or this particular element. Again, we can access it. This is the paragraph. And pay attention, I'm using this big thing, but you can store it in a variable and you can use that. Okay, so this is the P. And for the paragraph, I just want to modify the style. So P dot, you can go class list and you can add some class like add error. We haven't created the CSS related to that class, but let us add it first, then we will create the error CSS. Okay, so it will add a class error. Agreed?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so we can write some CSS based on this. So dot error, and we can say a border, whatever CSS you want to apply. For example, I'm interested in applying like border 2 pixel solid red. For error, I'm going to go with the red. You can underline whatever, you can cross through it, it doesn't matter. Okay, so save, and let us come here, and I'm just going to save it. Pay attention, you'll get some good results. Okay, so you can see only those paragraphs are marked who have the error word in it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now you can also check for success too. Multiple condition. Correct. So you can do like if, again same thing, and we are going to look for success. Correct, not the error, the success. This time without spaces, otherwise it is going to generate some issues, and in that case we want to add success. So for that, let us add just a green border. Let us use that class to provide the styling. And border, same, I'm just providing border, but you can do anything, whatever you want. 2 pixel solid green. Perfect. So save it, and now you can see we are marking it green. Good. I don't need to log it here again because it is not required now. Log it just for debugging purpose. When you create the whole application, you don't need to log and do all the things. Okay, so you can use the core for loop to solve this particular problem, and it is working. So we solve our challenge. Good, but you can solve it in much more simpler way with the help of for each. Okay, so good. Okay, so let us what? Let's traverse the DOM. अभी हमने traversing नहीं देखा है. So let us traverse the DOM. Traversing the DOM, if you grab the particular element and you can move from that particular point in the DOM tree. If you want to grab the parent, you can get the parents. If you want to grab the child, you can grab the child, depending on the requirement. Okay, so traversal is there. Okay, we will do the traversal, but let us solve it in the for each way. Okay, so for each. But before going forward for each, let us discuss the arrow functions, because for each uses kind of callback functions. Okay, and it is kind of tricky one, but we can easily understand it. Okay, how the callback works, it will be decoded when we learn about the asynchronous programming. But for now, just to remember the syntax, okay, how we can arrange the things to get the expected result. That's it. Okay, so let us do that. Let us first understand the callbacks. Okay, then after we will talk about arrow functions. Then we'll talk about the for each method, because for each uses callback as an arrow function. So let us do that. Yeah, but people are leaving the class. If you're not understanding, please let me know. Anyone? किसी को नहीं आ रहा है क्या?
समझ में आ रहा है.
What we are doing? No, people are leaving the class. No, that is still
Okay.
one more people left the class. अरे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो बोलो. If you don't speak, so how do I know कि आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Leaving the class will not make you programmer. Okay, if you are running from the coding, you will never learn the coding. Okay, so only way to be good with the code is just doing lots of practice. Okay, so chalo, let us do the arrow function. Okay, so arrow function और चलो पहले normal function से try करते हैं and we will see कि arrow functions हम कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं और कैसे क्रिएट कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, तो मैं क्या करता हूँ, पहले फॉर ईच आपको एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ एंड उसके बाद कौन सी प्रॉब्लम एरो फंक्शन सॉल्व करता है वी विल सी, एंड उसका क्या एडवांटेज है. एक तरह से वो सिंपलर वे है, मॉडर्न जावास्क्रिप्ट का पार्ट है कि कैसे आप एरो फंक्शन इजीली क्रिएट कर सकते हो. तो लेट्स डू दैट. सो यस.
हाँ सर, जब मैंने ऐड सक्सेस किया तो एग्जीक्यूट नहीं हो रहा है. स्टाइल लगाया मैंने बॉर्डर, तो सक्सेस में जो स्टाइल लगाया वो ऐड नहीं हो रहा है सर.
एरर वाला हो रहा है,
एरर वाला हो रहा है.
तो सेम आपने प्रोसेस लिया, इंक्लूड चेक किया, सक्सेस वर्ड होगा ही नहीं आपके पैराग्राफ में, पे चेक इट. या फिर कहीं पे हाँ स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक किया होगा. अगर सक्सेस वर्ड नहीं होगा तो डेफिनेटली कोई पैराग्राफ ही नहीं मिलेगा, तो ग्रीन कैसे होगा वो, राइट?
ओके सर, चेक करता हूँ.
हाँ चेक इट.
हाँ
अगर
सर.
सारा कुछ
हाँ राइट सर, पैराग्राफ में सक्सेस वर्ड नहीं
तो है ही नहीं तो मिलेगा ही नहीं, तो डेफिनेटली ग्रीन नहीं लगेगा ना.
ओके सर.
ओके, सो गुड. चलो अब इसको मैं फॉर ईच वे में, तो फॉर ईच कैसे वर्क करता है, पे अटेंशन, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट. और ये मॉडर्न जावास्क्रिप्ट का पार्ट है, दैट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ ES6 व्हाट वी कॉल्ड. सो वी आर मूविंग काइंड ऑफ, वी आर लर्निंग द ES6 फीचर. ओके, सो फॉर ईच, तो चलो अरे इसी को इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे अभी, यहीं पे कमेंट कर देते हैं. ठीक है, और इट्स रियल वर्ल्ड एग्जांपल. यहाँ पे पहले हम सिंपल अरे के साथ उसको यूज करते हैं, देन आफ्टर वी विल यूटिलाइज इट विद द आवर यूज केस. ओके, तो मैं एक अरे क्रिएट करता हूँ लाइक var my array, and this is array method. For each is a array method. So let us like do 3 6 8 7 2 simple array of information. Good. And I want to loop over it, so definitely we can use for, vanilla for जो हमने अभी यूज किया, बट आई एम इंटरेस्टेड इन स्पेसिफिक मेथड. तो फॉर इतना इंपॉर्टेंट था या इतना यूजफुल मेथड था कि अरेज के लिए इन्होंने स्पेशली लूपिंग मैकेनिज्म इन्वेंट किया ES6 में, द मॉडर्न वे. उसको हम यूजुअली स्ट्रीम्स बोलते हैं टेक्निकली, क्योंकि जावा से ही ये कॉन्सेप्ट को फेच किया गया, जावा लैंग्वेज, जावा प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज से ही जावास्क्रिप्ट में इसको फेच किया गया है, क्योंकि जावा भी स्ट्रीम्स API यूज करता है उधर. बट अगेन उतना डिटेल में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. अभी हम लोग फॉर ईच कॉल कर सकते हैं इजीली. ठीक है, तो अरेज आर नॉट डम, उनके पास बहुत सारे सुपर पावर्स होते हैं, देयर इज सम प्रॉपर्टीज, देयर आर सम मेथड्स, उसमें से फॉर ईच भी है. तो लेट अस सी कि कैसे फॉर ईच हमें हेल्प करता है. तो माई अरे यूज करूंगा, यहाँ पे बोलूंगा माई अरे डॉट. तो देखो अरे से रिलेटेड बहुत सारे प्रॉपर्टीज और मेथड है, इसमें से कहीं आपको फॉर ईच भी दिख रहा होगा. दिस इज फॉर ईच. ठीक है, रेडीमेड थिंग्स, मैं नहीं क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ, यूज कर रहा हूँ बस. फॉर ईच एंड इट इज अ मेथड, तो आप क्या करोगे, इसको कॉल करोगे। गुड, बट प्रॉब्लम ये है कि जब आप फॉर ईच को कॉल करते हो तो इसके अंदर एक फंक्शन आपको पास करना होता है, और जावास्क्रिप्ट में दिस इज अ ब्यूटी, आप एक फंक्शन के अंदर अदर फंक्शन भी पास कर सकते हो, ठीक है। बहुत सारी लैंग्वेजेज में आप नहीं कर सकते, बट इन जावास्क्रिप्ट यू कैन पास अ फंक्शन एज अ आर्गुमेंट टू अदर फंक्शन, ओके। तो फॉर ईच को ना एक इनर फंक्शन की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है, ठीक है, उसको टेक्निकली कॉलबैक फंक्शन बोलते हैं, बट कॉलबैक का whole soul full operation we will do in some upcoming classes, but अभी के लिए कैसे सेटअप करना है for each को, you need to focus on that. तो my array dot for each, and in this parenthesis you need to provide only a function. This is what we call callback function, okay. So callback functions in javascript technically, just keep in mind interview में कभी कभी पूछते भी हैं, यू कैन पास फंक्शन इन अनदर फंक्शन। तो इधर मैं वो भी कॉन्सेप्ट स्ट्रेच कर देता हूँ। फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे पास एक फंक्शन है लाइक फंक्शन ए, okay, and if you have like a function b, so these are the separate functions we have created. javascript में एक चीज आप और बोलते हैं, this is the function declaration, okay, this is what we call function declare करना। हम लोग function declare कर रहे हैं, function a declare किया, function b declare किया, but function को आप as a variable किसी variable में store भी कर सकते हो, उसको हम टेक्निकली फंक्शन एक्सप्रेशन बोलते हैं, ठीक है। जब आप किसी फंक्शन को एक वेरिएबल के अंदर स्टोर कर सकते हो, तो डेफिनेटली इट इज आल्सो गोइंग टू वर्क। आप इधर क्या करोगे, इक्वल साइन लगाओगे और बोल दोगे var b, ओके। और इधर से चाहो तो आप नेम रिमूव कर सकते हो, इट विल वर्क विदाउट एनी इशू। क्यों, क्योंकि ये सेम फंक्शन है, अभी फंक्शन बी ही है, बट इट इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन and this is in form of declaration. Two technical words, we are declaring a function and we are creating a expression of a function. Both you can call it by name, so you can call it a like this, and you can also call b like this, b, totally fine, it will work, okay. Both are the way of creating function is totally fine. This is what we call function expression and this is what we call function declaration. तो हमने declaration बहुत ही बार देखा है, we have created several, but ये expression वाला we are seeing it first time. ऑब्जेक्ट के अंदर हमने देखा होगा, कॉलम लगाया था हमने, एनोनिमस फंक्शन हमने दिया था वहां पे, बट अगर एनोनिमस नहीं होता है, वो जो कॉलम से पहले इंफॉर्मेशन पास करते हो वही फंक्शन का नेम होता है। यहाँ पे इक्वल साइन लगा के आप फंक्शन को स्टोर भी कर सकते हो इन अ वेरिएबल बी, और उसको कॉल कर लोगे विदाउट एनी इशू, इट इज गोइंग टू रन। साथ के साथ आप और क्या कर सकते हो, तो दिस इज सिंपल, ठीक है। आप इसको कॉल करोगे, दिस फंक्शन विल एग्जीक्यूट, ए को कॉल करोगे, ए विल एग्जीक्यूट विदाउट एनी इशू। बस केवल टर्मिनोलॉजी का डिफरेंस है, इसको हम डिक्लेरेशन बोलेंगे, इसको हम फंक्शन एक्सप्रेशन बोलेंगे, नथिंग मोर देन दैट। बोथ को कॉल करने का वे वही है, फंक्शन का नेम ये हो जाएगा, जो वेरिएबल में स्टोर करोगे वो फंक्शन का नेम हो जाएगा, और यहाँ पे डेफिनेटली फंक्शन का नेम आपने स्पेसिफाई किया है तो उसी को यूज करोगे। बट ब्यूटीफुली आप जावास्क्रिप्ट में एक चीज और कर सकते हो, क्योंकि अगेन फंक्शन अब हमारे पास एज ए एक्सप्रेशन है, तो ये एक तरह से वेरिएबल, ये वेरिएबल के अंदर कुछ डेटा आप इमेजिन कर सकते हो, एंड यू कैन सप्लाई दिस होल डेटा टू द अदर फंक्शन टू। तो आप इधर ना चाहो तो बी में पास भी कर सकते हो, जैसे आपने ए को कॉल किया और उसमें चाहते हो बी को पास करना, तो डेफिनेटली आप पास कर सकते हो, ठीक है। तो इधर चलो मैं ए को यहाँ पे कॉल कर रहा हूँ, ए फंक्शन को, और इसमें चाहूँ तो बी को मैं एज आर्गुमेंट पास भी कर सकता हूँ, ठीक है। दिस इज ब्यूटी एंड दिस इज वर्क, टोटली वैलिड थिंग, एंड इट विल वी विल डू इट अलॉट जब एडवांस जावास्क्रिप्ट का पार्ट कवर करेंगे तब। यहाँ पे भी कुछ टेक्निकल वर्ड्स हैं, जस्ट कीप दोस वर्ड्स इन माइंड। फॉर एग्जांपल इस सेटअप में व्हेन अ फंक्शन रिसीव अ फंक्शन, ठीक है, जैसे ए फंक्शन फंक्शन बी को रिसीव कर रहा है, good, functional expression doesn't matter, you can also write whole function in here, ठीक है, it will work, okay, you can put whole function in here, it is the same thing, okay, you can put a function inside फंक्शन, ठीक है। यू कैन सी पैरेंथेसिस के अंदर मैंने एक फंक्शन रख दिया है एंड इट विल वर्क विदाउट एनी इशू। इट्स द सेम थिंग ना, आप वेरिएबल में स्टोर करके उसको पास करो या फिर डायरेक्टली फंक्शन की डेफिनेशन यहाँ पे दे दो, ठीक है, टोटली वैलिड। तो चलो मैं बी वापस ले आता हूँ, टोटली फाइन, ठीक है, इट विल वर्क। So B, same thing. So we can pass a function inside another function. So यहाँ पे we use two terminology. This is what we call higher order function, ठीक है, HOF, ठीक है। So higher order functions वो function होते हैं जो other function को as a parameter receive करते हैं, ठीक है। तो A is a higher order function and technically इसको lower order कोई term नहीं है, but definitely you can call it लोअर ऑर्डर फंक्शन, ओके, जिसको हम पास करते हैं, बट अगेन टेक्निकल ये वर्ड नहीं है, दिस इज द वर्ड हायर ऑर्डर फंक्शन। तो अभी हमारे पास ए जो है दिस इज द हायर ऑर्डर फंक्शन और बी हम क्यों इसको हायर ऑर्डर क्यों बोलेंगे, क्योंकि इट इज रिसीविंग अ फंक्शन एज इट्स पैरामीटर, ठीक है। जब भी कोई फंक्शन एक अदर फंक्शन को एज ए पैरामीटर रिसीव करता है तो जो रिसीवर है, ठीक है, उसको हम हायर ऑर्डर फंक्शन बोलते हैं, ठीक है। दिस इज टोटली फाइन इन जावास्क्रिप्ट, दीज आर टर्मिनोलॉजीज। आप ऐसे फंक्शन क्रिएट कर सकते हो, फंक्शन एक्सप्रेशन क्रिएट कर सकते हो, फंक्शंस के इनसाइड फंक्शन को पास भी कर सकते हो। इंटरव्यू में ये पूछता है कि हायर ऑर्डर फंक्शंस क्या होते हैं, तो आप कहोगे कि व्हेन अ फंक्शन रिसीव अनदर फंक्शन द रिसीवर is considered as a higher order function, nothing more than that, okay. So you can receive it and definitely you can utilize it too. For example, अब हमने b को इधर a के अंदर रिसीव किया है तो आप इधर चाहो तो b को कॉल भी कर सकते हो, you can see the magic, make sense, okay। यहाँ पे हमें एक पैरामीटर देना होगा, for example whatever you want to do fun, ठीक है। तो अभी फंक्शन में इधर आएगा और इधर आपको fun कॉल करना होगा। तो ये यही वाला फंक्शन है ना, एग्रीड। तो क्या किया, b को हमने a के अंदर पास कर दिया तो फंक्शन में रिसीव होगा, करेक्ट, ये वाला फंक्शन ना,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
और इधर आप इसको कॉल कर सकते हो, तो इसीलिए हम इसको कॉल बैक फंक्शन भी बोलते हैं, ठीक है, कि वी आर इट कॉलिंग इट बैक फ्रॉम अदर फंक्शन, ओके। एक बार सप्लाई कर रहे हो देन यू आर कॉलिंग इट बैक फ्रॉम इन द इनसाइड ऑफ द अदर फंक्शन, ओके, इसीलिए इसको हम कॉल बैक फंक्शन भी बोलते हैं। ये टेक्निकली यू कैन डू द सेम, मतलब आपको एक बी क्रिएट करने की जरूरत नहीं है, इफ यू वांट टू सप्लाई हियर डेफिनेटली द सेम थिंग, ठीक है। उसमें हमने एक्सप्रेशन असाइन करके सप्लाई किया था और इधर हमने एक्सप्रेशन नहीं असाइन किया है, you can, this is the same thing, now you are passing a whole function in a, so a is the higher order function, it is receiving a function and now you can receive it in here and you can call it, because function को हम call ही कर सकते हैं, you cannot do more than that, okay। So this is totally valid thing in the JavaScript and these are the very important things to keep in mind। अब हमारे पास जो for each, अब switch back to the for each, तो arrays are also object smart, they have the for each method, लेकिन for each ऐसे वर्क नहीं करता, इसको भी एक फंक्शन की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है, उसके अंदर पास करने की एक कॉलबैक फंक्शन आपको पास करना होता है। तो लेट अस पास अ कॉलबैक फंक्शन, एक फंक्शन इधर राइट करते हैं, तो मैं इधर बस फंक्शन राइट करना है आपको, ठीक है। तो आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू राइट अ फंक्शन एंड विदाउट नेम, ठीक है, जैसे हमने इधर ये पूरा फंक्शन किया है एग्जैक्टली वैसे ही। तो आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू पास अ नेम फंक्शन, दैट्स इट, एंड यू कैन सी कि एवरीवन इज हैप्पी, कोई भी नीचे रेड लाइन नहीं आ रहा है, एवरीथिंग इज टोटली फाइन, गुड। So now this is the internal working of for each, we have written the syntax of for each, okay। अब ये वर्क कैसे करेगा, it will work, ठीक है, without any issue। अब होगा क्या internally, just keep that in mind कि what will happen, my array we have used for each over it, तो ये loop for each word is indicating it will execute the execute as many as time, it's depend on the numbers actually, okay, the numbers that array have। For example, this particular array have like 1 2 3 4 5 element, this will execute exactly 5 times। आपको अब ऐसा कुछ कंट्रोल देने की जरूरत नहीं है, array dot length or something condition, no, you don't need to provide it again। ये ऑटोमेटिक क्या करेगा, जितनी array की लेंथ है ना उतनी बार इट विल एग्जीक्यूट ऑटोमेटिकली विदाउट एनी कंडीशन चेकिंग, कुछ भी नहीं करना है आपको। तो एक तो इससे छुट्टी मिल गई कि आपको कुछ इनिशियलाइज नहीं करना है और कुछ कंडीशन चेक नहीं करना, कुछ इंक्रीमेंट डिक्रीमेंट भी नहीं करना है. दिस विल डन ऑटोमेटिकली विदाउट एनी इशू. ओके, सो फॉर ईच विल टेक केयर ऑफ ऑल द थिंग्स कि कितनी बार एग्जीक्यूट करना है, कि कितने आइटम्स है उतनी बार ऑटोमेटिक चलेगा. अगर इसमें 5 आइटम्स है तो 5 टाइम्स चलेगा, उसके बाद एग्जीक्यूशन रुक जाएगा. 6 आइटम है 6 टाइम, 100 आइटम से 100 टाइम ये लूप ऑटोमेटिक एग्जीक्यूट करेगा. एग्जीक्यूशन के टाइम पे फॉर एग्जांपल 3 है, मान लो हमारे पास 3 आइटम, फर्स्ट आइटम तो एग्जीक्यूट करेगा, तो एडवांटेज क्या है उसका, भाई केवल एग्जीक्यूट करना तो है नहीं, वी मस्ट वांट सम डेटा, सम ऑपरेशन ओवर द डेटा. ओके, तो हम लोग ये ऑटोमेटिक क्या करेगा कि ईच एंड एवरी टाइम इट विल पास ईच एंड एवरी एलिमेंट टू दिस इंटरनल फंक्शन. तभी हमें इधर फंक्शन की जरूरत पड़ रही है. ओके, तो अभी क्या करेगा, फर्स्ट टाइम लूप चलेगा तो ये 3 को उठा के कहेगा कि भाई एज ए आर्गुमेंट यहाँ पे रिसीव कर लो. सेकेंड टाइम लूप चलेगा तो 6 को उठा के इसमें एज ए आर्गुमेंट पास कर देगा. थर्ड टाइम लूप चलेगा तो 8 को उठाएगा इधर पास कर देगा, फिर 7 को उठाएगा पास करेगा, 2 को उठाएगा पास करेगा, और उसके बाद एग्जीक्यूशन स्टॉप कर देगा क्योंकि इट विल डन इंटरनली. ओके, तो पास करेगा तो इधर हमें कुछ ना कुछ नेम स्पेसिफाई करना होगा. ठीक है, तो मैं इसको आइटम नेम देता हूँ, आप कुछ भी दो, इट डजंट मैटर, क्योंकि एक एक इंफॉर्मेशन उसमें पास होती चली जाएगी. और इसके अंदर आप कोड राइट कर सकते हो. यू कैन सी दिस इज द ब्यूटीफुल स्ट्रक्चर. आप इधर कोई भी कोड राइट करो, console.log, और मैं आइटम को ही लॉग करता हूँ सो दैट आपको पता चले कि हाँ ये वर्क कर रहा है कि नहीं कर रहा है. तो आइटम को लॉग करूंगा तो ईच एंड एवरी आइटम मुझे मिलना चाहिए. कैसे चलेगा, सिंपल था, फॉर ईच विल रन फॉर ईच एंड एवरी एलिमेंट, इसीलिए फॉर ईच इज देयर. ओके, फॉर ईच एंड एवरी एलिमेंट. ओके, सो माई अरे डॉट फॉर ईच एंड इट हैज अ कॉल बैक फंक्शन. कॉल बैक फंक्शन क्यों है, क्योंकि फॉर ईच क्या करता है, एक एक आइटम को उस फंक्शन में पास करता है, इवन इस कॉल बैक को कॉल कर रहा है इंटरनली. ठीक है, मतलब इट्स कॉम्प्लेक्स स्ट्रक्चर, बट अभी के लिए जस्ट इमेजिन कि इन द आर्गुमेंट ये आपको डेटा सप्लाई करता जाएगा. ठीक है, इंटरनली क्या कर रहा होगा, इस फंक्शन को कॉल करके उसमें वो पैरामीटर की तरह सप्लाई कर रहा होगा, तो यहाँ पे आप रिसीव कर रहे हो. ठीक है, सो डोंट गो इन दैट डिटेल, बट अभी के लिए जस्ट पे अटेंशन कि अभी फर्स्ट टाइम जब लूप चलेगा तो आइटम में 3 मिलेगा, फिर सेकेंड टाइम लूप चलेगा आइटम में 6 मिलेगा, फिर थर्ड टाइम लूप चलेगा आइटम में 8 मिलेगा. तो हम इजिली, आप देखोगे इजिली 3 6 8 7 2 हम लोग इजिली एक्सट्रैक्ट कर ले रहे हैं, ऑपरेट कर ले रहे हैं इजिली. ठीक है, तो ये वाला ज्यादा इजी है ना, अगर आपको राइट ना, जस्ट दिस मच ऑफ कोड instead of this whole condition dot length and all the things, right? So for each एक callback function आपको इसमें डालना है, और इसी callback function के पैरामीटर में each and every item one after another रिसीव होता जाएगा. उसके बाद जो भी ऑपरेशन आपको परफॉर्म करना आप उससे परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं. मैंने लॉग किया है, बट यू कैन डू वॉट एवर यू वांट टू डू. ठीक है, तो गुड, वी कैन इनमरेट द होल array with the help of for each and this callback function. Okay, so let us implement it. उसके बाद वाइंड अप करते हैं, क्योंकि अगर छोड़ेंगे तो फिर दिस इज गोइंग, इसी को हम लोग ट्राई करते हैं, यहीं पे for each लगाने का ट्राई करते हैं. तो मैं for हटा देता हूँ, आई डोंट नीड, मतलब इधर रहने देते हैं इसको. बट देखो दिस इज ऑल्सो अरे, मतलब नोड लिस्ट वर्क्स लाइक अरे, for each उसके पास भी है तो वी कैन for each it. ओके, सो इसको मैं रिमूव करता हूँ सो दैट आपको सारा कोड ये वाला भी नीचे का भी दिखे. ठीक है, मैं रिमूव कर देता हूँ. फॉर ईच का सिंटैक्स आपको दिखना चाहिए. ठीक है, ये सिंटैक्स, और यहाँ पे मैं इस पे अप्लाई करने वाला हूँ फॉर ईच, क्योंकि इट्स नोड लिस्ट पे भी फॉर ईच लगा सकते हो. तो मैं बोलूंगा एलिमेंट डॉट फॉर ईच, और इसके अंदर हमें फंक्शन देना होगा कॉल बैक. आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू गिव इट अ फंक्शन. फंक्शन की बॉडी, यहाँ पे यूजुअली हम एरो फंक्शन देते हैं, मैं नॉर्मल फंक्शन यूज कर रहा हूँ. देयर इज काइंड ऑफ गुड वे ऑफ डूइंग द थिंग्स. तो एरो फंक्शन अभी नहीं पता है, तो जो ES5 वे है फंक्शन क्रिएट करने का वो हम प्रोवाइड करते हैं. गुड, और इधर हम लोग कुछ भी वट एवर नेम यू वांट टू प्रोवाइड, लाइक आप p, क्योंकि हमें पता है कि जब आप एलिमेंट पे लूप थ्रू कर रहे हो तो आपको p एलिमेंट मिल रहा है, तो इट मेक सेंस. या फिर पैराग्राफ आप राइट कर दो, is good for me, argument name, और उसके बाद इधर आप उसको यूज कर सकते हो. तो यूज करने में आपको क्या करना है, ये सारा का सारा कोड राइट करना होगा अगेन. ओके, अब हमें मिल गया ना एक एक एलिमेंट, वी आर गेटिंग ईच एंड एवरी. चलो लॉक कर लेते हैं एक बार. console.log और पैरा को मैं लॉग कर लेता हूँ। एंड दिस इज मच मोर सिंपलर, स्वीट एंड इजी वे। ओके, आप देखो बस 2 लाइन्स ऑफ कोड, आपको ये कंडीशन कुछ भी नहीं देना है, इट विल वर्क। ओके, तो मैं क्या करता हूँ, इन सबको कमेंट करता हूँ और पहले उसको चेक करते हैं कि वर्क कर रहा है कि नहीं, एक एक आइटम हमें लॉग पे मिल रहा है कि नहीं। सेव करेंगे एंड यू कैन सी यू आर गेटिंग द ईच एंड एवरी पैराग्राफ एलिमेंट, बट इसमें से मुझे टेक्स्ट निकालना है, तो उसके लिए आप क्या यूज कर सकते हो, टेक्स्ट कंटेंट या इनर टेक्स्ट, कई सारी प्रॉपर्टीज हैं। आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू गो विद द पैरा डॉट inner text or sorry text content। सेव करेंगे तो यू कैन सी यू आर गेटिंग द सेम रिजल्ट इन मच मोर इजियर वे। अब हमारे पास टेक्स्ट कंटेंट है, स्ट्रिंग में है, तो हम चेक कर सकते हैं कि इंक्लूड कर रहा है एरर और समथिंग लाइक दैट, तो हम इधर कंडीशनल लगा सकते हैं। तो सेम कोड, इफ पैरा, सो इसी को हम लोग पी से मॉडिफाई कर देंगे, मतलब वहां पे पैरा रख देंगे, दैट्स इट। और इधर हम लोगों को पैरा रखना होगा क्योंकि वही एलिमेंट है ना, पैरा एंड परफेक्ट। और सेम कॉपी हम लोग एरर सक्सेस के लिए भी क्रिएट कर लेते हैं यहीं पे, और इधर हम लोग सक्सेस के लिए चेक कर लेते हैं। Perfect, and now you can change the color and all the things. So para dot like a class list, we already have created the class list, so I'm just going to add it, add the error class, एरर इस केस में, और सेम हमारे पास इधर सक्सेस वाली क्लास ऐड करनी है। Perfect, good, so great। Okay, so similar thing in much more simpler way, मैं इस console को भी हटाता हूँ, so that you can see कि कितना easy है ये for each instead of usual for loop। same problem same solution आपको यहाँ पे मिलेगा। if I save, आप इधर देखो same result you are getting, right, but in much more simpler or easier way। okay, so for each का ये beauty है to loop over the arrays। any doubt in for each? Now I'm
No, sir.
removing all the things because for each the handy tool arrays के साथ work करने के लिए this is very very easiest thing। okay, तो ये structure बस ध्यान रहे, internally ये call कर रहा होगा callback को, और उसमें as a argument उसको supply कर रहा होगा, that's why हमें इधर पैरामीटर में ये मिल रहा है, but totally fine। ठीक है, just setup आपको करना आ गया, that's it। कि for each ऐसे वर्क करता है, इसको हम टेक्निकली कॉल बैक बोलते हैं, क्योंकि इसी को हम लोग फॉर ईच ना इसको इंटरनली उधर अपने अंदर कॉल कर रहा होगा, जो जावास्क्रिप्ट में इसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है, इंटरनली ऑल द थिंग्स आर हैपनिंग, हम लोग उसमें इंटरेस्टेड नहीं है कैसे वर्क करना है, जस्ट दैट्स इट फॉर नाउ। ओके, सो गुड, सो वी हैव कवर्ड फॉर ईच, कैसे हम लोग डॉम में नोड को ऐड करेंगे, दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। ठीक है, अगर टेक्स्ट फॉर्म में तो टोटली फाइन, कोई इश्यू नहीं होगा, क्योंकि डायनेमिक कास्टिंग होती है इन द जावा स्क्रिप्ट। बट अगर नहीं है एंड देयर इज ओनली नोड अवेलेबल्स, वेदर इट इज टेक्स्ट नोड, एलिमेंट नोड, तो उधर वो ब्राउजर पे रेंडर नहीं होगा, उसके लिए आपको मेथड्स यूज करने होते हैं, अपेंड चाइल्ड और अपेंड, कई सारे वेज हैं। ठीक है, अपेंड चाइल्ड इज मोस्ट फेमस वन, क्योंकि एलिमेंट को यूजुअली चाइल्ड की तरह ऐड करना इज वेरी वेरी इजियर। ओके, सो कैसे अपेंड करना है, वी हैव सीन दैट, साथ के साथ हमने वी हैव सीन अरे स्ट्रिंग रिलेटेड स्पेसिफिक मेथड, द इंक्लूड्स, इट विल चेक फॉर द पर्टिकुलर वर्ड in that particular string, and we also learn a very important method of the array, that is for each। okay, so good, we will use these tools time to time। good, so any doubt, otherwise let us stop by here today, we will continue in the next class with other array related features। okay, so array and string, several features are still pending, we are done almost with the dom में I think अभी के लिए इतना इनफ है। और ट्रैवर्सिंग, आई फॉरगॉट द ट्रैवर्सिंग, कि कैसे आप पेरेंट को या किसी भी एलिमेंट को ग्रैब करके यू कैन मूव थ्रू आउट द डॉम ट्री। सो फॉर दैट आपको पेरेंट पे जाना है तो डॉट पेरेंट कॉल करोगे, तो वी विल सी, यहीं से स्टार्ट करेंगे इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास। सो डॉम ट्री में से आपको क्रिएट, रीड, अपडेट, डिलीट ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म करने आना चाहिए कि हाउ टू क्रिएट एन एलिमेंट एंड इंजेक्ट इन द डॉम ट्री, हाउ टू रीड और ग्रैब एलिमेंट फ्रॉम द डॉम ट्री, हाउ टू रिमूव एलिमेंट फ्रॉम डॉम ट्री, and how to update inner HTML, inner text, or whatever, append child or whatever way you want. Definitely you can use those ways to update the DOM tree. Okay, so good.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
सर हम इंक्लूड्स में ओनली वन सिंगल पैरामीटर पास करते हैं क्या, या कुछ मल्टीपल भी कर सकते हैं?
Includes again especially आप
जैसे सर हमने एरर दिए और कॉमा लगा के सक्सेस भी दे दिए उधर, तो वर्क करेगा या नहीं?
वो इट विल नॉट वर्क. ठीक है, इंक्लूड्स में अदर पैरामीटर आप पास कर सकते हो, लेकिन फॉर नॉट फॉर द टेस्टिंग पर्पसेस. ओके, बट यूजुअली आपको वन पैरामीटर इज असाइन. ठीक है, आप इसके डॉक्यूमेंटेशन को चेक करो. मैं इस पे होवर कर रहा हूँ तो देखो क्या क्या दे रहा है ये. स्ट्रिंग डॉट इंक्लूड्स, उसमें आप पैरामीटर कई सारा दे सकते हो. फर्स्ट पैरामीटर यू आर सपोज टू प्रोवाइड स्ट्रिंग, राइट?
यस सर.
कौन सी स्ट्रिंग को सर्च करना, ये एडिटर खुद बता रहा है. सेकेंड, आप पोजीशन भी पास कर सकते हो कि कौन से इंडेक्स से स्टार्ट करके कौन से इंडेक्स तक जाना है. ठीक है, यू कैन पास द पोजीशन एज द सेकेंड आर्गुमेंट बट नॉट द सेकेंड स्ट्रिंग, राइट?
यस सर, यस.
तो आप इसको ना जैसे रीड कर लिया, तो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन इज वेरी वेरी हैंडी. इधर लेके आओगे ना माउस को तो बता देगा कि अच्छा ऐड के अंदर हम क्या क्या कर सकते हैं. ठीक है,
ओके, थैंक यू सर.
okay, so
Hello,
good.
sir.
Yes.
Sir, please provide some assignments to us.
Okay, assignments. So simple assignment. Let me bring it. Okay, just hold. मैं देखता हूँ कुछ basics assignment हमारे पास है, क्योंकि next class में we will start with the events. Okay, traversing is still pending, so I'm not going to put that. Okay, not a good. Simple assignments are there. You can easily do that. I just okay. So just hold a while. Just after completing the traversing, we will create a whole DOM project. तो उसमें आप लोगों को मैं एक better assignment allocate करूँगा. अभी के लिए these are the simple things you can do easily. तो not very challenging. अभी हमने कुछ बहुत ज़्यादा challenging cover भी नहीं किया है. So I will provide you the assignment. Not a big deal. In next class. It's 100% sure. Just remind me कि sir we need an assignment.
Okay, sir.
अभी के लिए हाँ. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much. Bye.
Okay,
and
sir.
good night.
Bye. Good night, sir. Bye.
Good night, sir.